We'll call the meeting to order. Our May Finance Committee meeting. April financials have been provided via email. Those of you that cared to took out a little bit of time and looked at them. 33% finished up our first third of the year. Looking at all the county elected officials, everybody's within budget. Exception being maybe the county coroner, but that's just because he has such a small budget and we bought his van. So county roads at 23, county jail at 27. Everything seems to be going pretty well along. Construction funds. So Kelly was kind enough to provide me with a list of things so that I don't forget and have time to refresh my memory. So I'm going to go down Miss Kelly's list here. We're fixing to get our construction money, $17.5 million. We're setting up 2 accounts, and Peggy, y'all, and you and Kelly, y'all correct me where I make mistakes here, but we're setting up 2 accounts, 4800 and 4801. 4800 being for Blyville construction and 4801 being for Osceola construction, dividing the 2 monies out. You know, we guaranteed Osceola at least a minimum of $2 million. And so we're going to kind of keep the 2 projects separate there. We have not appropriated any money. And Kelly questions whether we need to go ahead and appropriate some of that. We're going to be collecting. Gosh, George, do you have the final number on that collection? It's right at $17.5 million.
Yeah, 17 million. Well, no, I'm not absolutely certain. I'll have to 17,645, something like that.
Do we need to go ahead and appropriate some or all of that, Peggy or Kelly?
I think really.
You think we ought to?
We'll be starting.
I mean, it'll go in there tomorrow.
Yes, we've already got bills.
Already got bills to pay? Do you want us to appropriate the whole amount or partial amounts, or how would you like to do it?
Well, I haven't thought about it, but I assume that I don't see anything wrong with going ahead and appropriating it all. I can't think of any downside to that.
Do it all. Do it all? Okay, so call it $2 million even on the Osceola, and the balance to be determined when we see our check tomorrow for the Blyville account?
Yes.
Sounds good to y'all?
Yes.
Motion?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
And we'll spend everything, you know, what we've got billed to date, because we do have to spend a certain percentage of that.
Right. That's about as easy as you'll see $17.5 million appropriated in a
Just like
governmental body.
Yeah. Never has been done here before.
No.
The trustee is going to pay those initial fees out of the money before it is, wired to us tomorrow. So she gave us a figure exactly what it is. I don't have it. I didn't bring it with me. The fees for the debt reserve, she's going to transfer that out there, and the fee for the trustee, bank, and different ones. It was listed in the ordinance.
Right.
I think it was 4 different ones. I didn't bring it, so.
That's okay. All right. When we get all this, when we get all this set up and all, we've got a new software program thing that you and Kelly are going to be using to do that with us. Could you kind of just touch on that just a little bit, because we've really not talked about it a whole lot in here, just brief.
Well, they did they're coming back Wednesday.
Wait a minute, tell them who they are.
Sorry, Financial Intelligence.
Okay.
That's the name of the software company. And they are coming back Wednesday, but they have set it up on our laptop. My laptop is going to be getting one also, where we can track all of the transfers, and that is something that the auditors have required that we do. I did get some paperwork from the trustee bank the other day, and there are 6 bank accounts that money will be transferred in between, so it is going to be a lot to keep up with. But she has been so helpful so far, and I think she's going to be great to work with. This is Stuttgart.
And so we've got the software pretty well in place then?
Well, no, this is actually just a, she calls it a dummy box.
Right.
But it's on my laptop right now, and we're ready to do it with me.
Okay, so it's on your laptop, but Kelly and I talked, and the judge and I talked about Kelly, and the fact that Kelly needs a laptop also.
Right.
And, have you got a line item in mind? Have you got money in the line item? Have you looked?
Yes.
You know what you want?
I haven't looked at computers or anything like that, no. But, oh, do you mean which line item?
No, which,
Yeah,
a laptop.
no, I haven't looked at anything yet. Probably just similar to what Peggy has. It was less than $1,500.
Yes, it's about 1,300.
So it works directly with the software they've got and also allows Kelly and Peggy both to work off-site if they need to. The money's already there and appropriated. Does anybody have a problem with Kelly going ahead and buying it? Judge, you're okay with it, aren't you, sir?
Absolutely.
You told me that earlier, so won't you just get what you, make sure it works. I mean, that it's appropriate for what you're trying to do. You don't want to skimp. Don't need to say $50 trying to get by. Another one that we have talked about and haven't appropriated is in the landfill, Justice Burgess.
Before we go any further, could I ask a question?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
On the money that will be dispersed tomorrow, that will go to the custodial bank, correct?
Farmers Bank.
Farmers Bank?
Well, the trustee will have it, and then she will wire it to Farmers.
Okay. As bills come in, I assume someone in the county will sign off on them, and then will we be actually doing the paying, or will the custodial bank be doing the paying?
We chose for us to do the check writing.
So it'll come to us first?
Yes.
Sorry.
Is that, I mean, that's okay with you, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I just,
And then just to add to that, there's not an invoice that gets paid to the county that it's not signed off on at least one person, and there's a lot of this, probably most of them you sign on by 3 different people.
Just thought it would help us have a little better hands-on
Sure.
grip about
I was
as
hoping it
bills
would
were
come to us
paid.
first, rather than go to some bank just to pay. That's correct.
Jim, any questions about this? I didn't even give you a
I was
chance.
going to ask you, and it's no big deal, but I'm just curious, is this money that going to be transferred, is it appropriated, or does it have to be appropriated? Is it coming out of our 17.5 million that is it trustees are taking, the underwriters?
He's asking, those fees that you were talking about, is that an additional or separate appropriation that we need to make, or is that subtracted before we ever get our check?
That's subtracted before we ever get the money. She's going to take that out there, is what she told me.
All right, so if we've appropriated 17.5 million, we may not get but 17 million.
Well, tomorrow we'll know exactly what we're going to get.
Well, but it's coming out off the top.
Yes.
So since we're not writing a check or anything, but it is coming out of county funds,
How do
should
get
we
posted?
appropriate it in order to, I don't know, I hadn't thought about that.
Well, if we can't deposit it, I don't know how we're gonna appropriate it.
That's true.
How do we get it posted is what that's my question. If they're taking it off the top
She said
and you
that-
write the checks,
She
how
said-
does that get in our system?
She said that I would see that on the statement, whenever I get the statement, and I would be able to
So
track
we
it.
just pick it up from
Yes.
our statement?
Yes.
Is that the only thing we're gonna have to pick up?
No.
Isn't that set out in that ordinance that we originally passed? All the fees are already there. So that should serve pretty much as your
I
appropriation.
understand that, that's not my question. The question is, since we're gonna write the check against the 17.5 million, how does that money reflect against it if we're not writing the check, if they're just taking it off the top? And I think she kind of answered it, that it'll come on a listing, and then it'll be up to Kelly to pull it off and get it posted? Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, there's 6 bank accounts, and she's gonna show that, you know, the money going into that one bank account, the full amount, and then she will show on that statement that those charges came out of that account, and then she wired the rest of it to Farmers Bank. Does that make sense? There's gonna be a lot of transferring going on.
And maybe we should call Eddie
Just,
or Mark Whitmore and.
I tell you, who would really actually probably know would be, one of the guys we'll be with tomorrow with the Friday firm, Taylor. Taylor could probably answer that
And
question.
Pam's gonna be there.
Who will?
Pam will be there.
Oh, good. Excellent. Good.
That always aggravates me when people take fees out. Just mess the whole thing up. Write a check.
Does anybody else, Justice Norvell, Ms. Hinton, anybody have
I mean,
any
there's
other,
a way to do it.
I'm good.
Miss Collector used to be?
Yes. Forget my name, just call it.
Just how you. Last month, we talked a little bit about landfill self-construction,
Yes, that's a good
but we
topic.
didn't do anything.
No, we did not. As far as I know, at this point, we're waiting on the plans and drawings and so forth from FTN. And then at that point, once we receive those, then we'll be ready to put them out to bid.
So there's no need in
Really, there's
any
nothing for us to
appropriating
do
or
at this
anything.
point, I don't believe.
I think maybe that we could do something.
Okay, Judge may have something else.
The way, you know, when we did appropriate the money for the design phase,
Yes.
well, I don't think we appropriated enough.
Okay.
And I've got the paperwork right here. I think that, and I left my notes, my minutes at home, but Kelly, do you have that figure we talked about earlier today on the class 4 appropriation for the design phase?
Well, I think 320,000 was the total, and then 80,000 of that was to be used for class 4.
For 4?
Yeah, 80,000 for class 4, 320 for the total, 80 of that 320 for class 4.
If I can bring this to you, this may, and rather than me just spout these off, but these are two, this is,
110,
yeah, and I think this one remains the same.
238.4. So it'd be 348.6.
348, we didn't appropriate that much.
No.
We appropriated, and then JT said he thought it would be around another 80,000. And so we appropriated 320 or something like that, maybe 330.
Yeah. So we appropriated the 80 instead of this.
Yeah, that's right. This was right, we appropriated that and then we added 80 more to it and added a little bit more on top of that.
Yeah.
So that's,
So we're 28.6 short just by these numbers right here.
Right.
If we appropriate just that, is that enough?
It should be. And they did tell us last time that they were estimating, so, and I should have said that when we had appropriated this money.
Okay. So what Ollie's saying, guys, is we appropriated 320 total the other day, when really we should have appropriated 348,600. So I guess, do you want to make a motion that we appropriate an additional 28,600?
or 30,000.
You want to just make it
Since we don't
30,000?
know exact amount,
Okay.
additional 30,000. We didn't have the bid, the estimate on the class folder at the last meeting. That's the reason we were a little under.
Are you listening? Does that sound, I mean, I know you two have thought, so.
Well, I just need to know, I guess, is the additional 30 just for class 4, or is it?
No, that's in the total amount.
I don't think we broke it down last time.
Oh,
We just I think it was one number.
Okay.
Most of that will be in the class 4. The class 4 was 110,200. So if you want to add it to be more specific about it going in class 4, it'd be all right. Is that okay, Judge?
Yes.
We'll just make up for an additional 30.
I'll second his motion.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Cool.
And that should get us the plans and drawings and everything to the point of being able to put it out on bid then.
Do either one of y'all want to say anything about the landfill? You don't have to, I just,
Landfill is doing pretty well. We're slightly behind on revenue, but considering the kind of weather we've had all spring, I think it's remarkable. Our profit margins are holding pretty true. We ended up at the end of April, our balance was 1.4 million, 1,409,283. And everyone keep in mind, we still have a commitment on the CAO to be finished. Having time because he's gonna use our dirt. I say our dirt. The dirt has to come from our facility to do the cover, to complete that job, and it's been underwater all winter, and still it's not, he just can't get to the dirt. And that's the hold up on that. Judge may have more to add, I don't know.
It rained since the second week of August, and it is, we're working on an alternative plan because right now, the weather's been going, and we need to go ahead and finish that up. We are, it should have been done, of course it couldn't have been done, but we are looking for a plan B on that to get that old classroom covered.
Been pretty much a nightmare, Jim.
Oh, and we do have a new landfill director, James Roundtree, and we'll present him with that in Quorum Court, this next Quorum Court meeting, and we want to acknowledge that, and we're very appreciable to him for taking on this role, a much needed position for ourselves.
Whatever happened on the, and I don't remember what it was called, but getting like the Colonel's doing where they're putting the liner over tops and putting dirt, are we in the process of trying to get that equipment in?
We are. We have spoken with the Solid Waste Management District, and we believe that there may be some funding there that will help move us down the road. I think that it's going to be the ideal thing to do. Craighead County, or it's not called Craighead County, but the district that they're involved in, they're on their second machine that's doing this, and what it'll do is instead of putting 6 inches of soil on top of every day's deposits in the landfill, we'll just put that plastic sheet over there, which is biodegradable, and it will save, well, that's 30 inches, that's 12, I think you gotta put 12 on it.
End of the week.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's still, you start adding it up, and it's a lot of money, not just money, but it is a lot of airspace that we're taking up in a Class 1 that is extremely valuable. And so, every cubic foot that we can save there will be a big deal.
Things moving good out there.
I did have one question, and Kelly may need to answer this, but there was some adjustments due to the part-time position in the scale house. The judge hired a person there, so there was some adjustments on the budget. Do we have to do any appropriation or anything since those numbers changed?
I think we did it last time. It was in last month's.
I think it was.
Okay.
Well, all we did was just appropriate the money for the salary for the rest of the year. And we did that in April.
Okay. I noticed the printout had changes on. I didn't realize we had done that.
Yes, I don't enter those until it's passed, so.
Gotcha. Thank you.
We had that 30,000
Yeah.
in the part-time pay, and
Right.
and then it just simply won't be used. So that'll just be a balance of money that can,
I just want to be sure the auditors didn't give us that.
Yeah, there's an ordinance number that goes with that.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Energy and Property Committee. we met and talked about Miss Leslie last time, but I don't think we ever did anything there either, did we?
Well, it was moved back to finance. Energy and Property gave her the okay to rent additional office or storage space.
$325 a month.
Yes, from Commercial Bank. It's attached, it is attached to her office. But she'll be able to access it. They've come up with an agreement that only county employees will actually be accessing behind the bank offices. Leslie's in agreement. She thinks that will work out well. It's a great space. There's lots of shelving in there, which will also work well for her. So, yeah, we just need to give her the money from her recording fund.
So where you intending?
Recorder fund.
Which one?
On the Bible, 25%.
Bible 25% recorder fund?
Yes, sir.
$325 a month for the remainder of the year, starting,
It's gonna be a 2-year lease.
yeah, but we'll just appropriate this
Okay.
year.
Yes.
Then we'll go into next
That's-
year's budget and give you another bad time.
Yes, that'll be fine. I've learned to appreciate it.
25% Bible recorder fund.
It's her 3006. Okay. She doesn't have a rent, but I can have
Can you add a line item for that? So when you gonna get it? Or
Well,
are you already there?
he's getting the lease, he has his attorney doing the lease. It's just supposed to be a 2-page
1st
lease.
of June?
And we're supposed to start the 1st of
Hopeful.
June.
So
Yes,
that
it's
was,
supposed to be
yes,
available.
that's what, so
7 months worth. 7 months worth at 2025. Agreeable with everybody? Y'all are just easy today.
Well, they won't be when you get to me.
Well, there is a little bit of a question. We got a bill submitted for a study regarding the Regal building, but have we approved the study for the Regal building? Is that?
I have no earthly idea what you're talking about, so apparently the answer to your question is no.
Kelly, you want to talk about that just a second? You know, it's on the second page,
Let me get to it.
number 13.
Yeah, we didn't have anything appropriated in that line item, but they did submit a bill, I want to say it's 2,000 and something dollars. But I mean, Cliff approves it, but I don't know anything about it, so that's why I was asking.
Do you know which one is the Regal building out there?
It's right on that highway, Rickle below it.
I just didn't remember approving, and I'm talking about your committee.
No,
This would have had to come through planning and development.
Has it?
I don't remember anything about a
No.
study for that building.
Unless that was to me, then it hadn't.
That building belongs to the city.
Sir?
That building belongs to the city of Blythe. I don't know.
I don't remember there being a study, I remember y'all talking about a Regal building, but not a study on it.
The one,
There was a talk on a Regal building, but not on a study of a Regal building.
I don't remember a
yeah,
that one, the blind.
Yeah,
There was something, there
because-
was a Bronco building too, I think. It was all tied in with all that.
Did it identify what kind of study it was or anything, just a bill for
I was at that
$2,000?
meeting. We didn't
To
talk
come
about
out of your
it.
money?
Because it used to be regular snowy.
not yet, it's not. How
Did
much
you
was
remember
it?
anything, Justice?
2,000.
About,
2,000?
yeah, you.
No, I don't think I was even at the meeting. I hadn't been at any of those meetings.
I don't remember.
What are they studying it for? Do you
Actually, it
know?
was 3,200, I'm sorry. I don't know, it's a company called SWCA Incorporated, and, you know, we asked for information, and that's all we got, was that it was a study for the Regal building.
You said
Was it an older building?
USDA?
It was SWCA.
SWCA.
Help me, Neil.
I'm lost, I don't know.
Was it
I don't
an older
remember any
bill? Was it
discussion
an
about
older
it.
one?
Sir?
Was it an older bill?
I
Was it
don't think
that?
so. I don't have it in front of me, though.
Did you pay it?
Yes.
Out of economic development?
I thought we talked about it.
Well, here's what happens sometimes. Sometimes I don't see them
You wouldn't do
until,
that.
well, if I don't see it,
It was,
I may not can catch it.
she was like us, she got paid before she saw it.
I saw it when I was going through this.
You wanna check on that again?
I'm gonna let him check with me.
Okay.
But
You don't know anything about it, do you,
check
Judge?
to somebody,
Yeah,
well, it's not gonna be coming
SWCA.
back to me then if it's paid.
You wanna talk about that old bill, or did you rather not?
Talk about the old what?
The old bill that Cliff submitted, one from 2017, A&C study bill. An invoice dating back to 2017 for A&C training.
Oh,
Okay, that has not been paid yet, it's still sitting on my desk. Tamika was out all last week. She's checking on it today and gonna get back with me.
that's good.
Okay. Kinda comes back, I mean, that's going back against 2 year ago budgets.
Right, and it just alludes to what we were just talking about, everybody, all the bills get looked at and get signed.
Yeah, they
And that
should,
get
yeah.
pulled out.
Good.
How much was that one for?
Around $1,100, wasn't it, I think? Something like
I wanna
that?
say it was a lot smaller than that,
Oh, was it
200
100 or
something.
something?
200.
100 something maybe, I don't remember.
All of it's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, since we increased the appropriation to Cliff's group by about 40 or 50, $67,000 this year, and if they don't submit the bills on time, they ought to pay for them out of their appropriation.
Amen.
Yep, I agree.
And I'm sure that'll be in the newspaper.
I've been begging, I've been begging Kelly not to pay.
And you will be quoted.
It's all right.
Joseph's typing right now.
2-year bill, 2-year-old bill. Bills we don't know anything about. Don't go
If I knew anything.
I don't care how big it is, a 2-year-old bill should have been taken
Our
care of a
bills
long
no
time
one
ago.
knows anything about.
Yeah. And there's 1, 2, 3 of us I know for sure that was in the meetings, all the meetings, and I don't remember any regularly.
Okay. Well,
First time I've heard that.
we'll get back to that. Just some minor little adjustments on senior citizens. I think we're pulling some monies out of some wrong accounts, just between the 3 different accounts that they've got.
I think what they do, their big thing is if they don't have money in one, they try to use what they can out of another, and that may be what you're saying.
Well, like on page 69, and just the regular number 31 senior citizens, fuel, oil, and lubricants, they've run over their deal there.
Yeah.
They're double what they had appropriated, but over in the transportation fund, 2007, they've got over $12,000 still available.
That's probably because they don't have any money in 3402 when they send that up, so they just put it in 3401. We ended up last year with a whole lot of that. So
Yeah.
that's why I did that spreadsheet where you could kind of see, you know, their total fuel and,
But the fuels that way, rents that way, and utilities that are that way, just kind of out of kilter between the,
well, I mean, we can stop that if you want, but we'll just have to do court
well, I didn't know if
orders.
it was easier to pay them out of the right ones and then we can change it now, or just do it and clean up, or,
Well, Peggy, what do you think? I mean, to me, it's easier to pay them like they've been doing and then fix it later, but
Yeah,
because we would have to do a court order every time.
yeah.
it just stands out when we pay a bill out of something that we have zero appropriation on, but in their second account, middle account or something, they got $5,000 or $10,000 there and not being used. I know it's not on purpose. I just wondered if, what's the better way to handle it, to fix it now or later? I don't care. Same thing on the judge's budget on 39, one of the judge's budgets. And it's just one little deal, but do you want it in the right spot or not, on asphalt? We did a little bit of asphalt, coal mix, $2,200 to Delta Asphalt, came out of your gravel, dirt, and slag. You got $200,000 in asphalt, it's not a big deal, you know.
You just got coded wrong?
Probably, if you want it to come out asphalt, if you want it to come out of gravel, dirt, and slag, that's
I meant for
fine.
it to come out of asphalt, yeah.
You see where I'm,
Yeah, I do see that.
and it's not a big deal, but it's just a matter of details. Do you want it?
I would do it close to correct as we possibly can.
Well, that right there, we don't need a court order or anything for. That's just, I probably just didn't know what high perk cold mix is. So I left it there.
And I didn't review the code numbers.
That's okay. And again, not a
But I
big
can move that easily, you know.
We have done quite a few jail transfers this month also. It's beginning to catch up with us just a little bit. Nothing unexpected, nothing that we have not appropriated, but we are beginning to catch up. Peggy, you want to, any thoughts there? Any comments there? Not so much as thoughts?
No, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head for sure how much we have, done out of county general yet, because we're transferring some of it out of the Act 1188 and some out of the Sheriff Communication Fund, so we do that first.
See, and there's the question you
Right.
had. Justice Jackson had a couple questions along that line as to how we did that. Can you just touch on how you pick out the ones to go to first? And
Well, we take it all out of Act 1188 first, and then on the Sheriff Communication Fund, we leave about $5,000 in that fund for them to pay bills out of that, but we can use anything over and above the $5,000 in that fund. And then after that, we get into county general to supplement the rest of it. So that's the only, two funds besides county general that we use to supplement that.
the sheriff is working with us, and he has over the last several years. We appropriate 6, 7 cars usually a year, and we ask him just don't spend it all at one time, or we used to have to do that because we honestly didn't have the money to buy 6 cars at one time in the first quarter of the year. And if you notice in this one, page 21, we paid for 3 cars that he's got, 3 Dodges. So he's kind of spells them out there and spreads them out so they're not hit one hard lick at a time. Judge, I noticed on page 14, just under other county, ADEQ storage tank permits. Is that where you caught up with us out yonder?
Is that where I caught up with you?
Caught up out on Highway 61, on the permit fees for the gas tanks. We paid fees there.
Yes, I'm trying to think. Does it say gas tanks?
It does.
What's the total figure?
We got the
$300 4 times.
Yeah, that's what it is, because that's how much the permits were. Every $300 a piece.
So does that catch us up and get us back legal again?
I'm assuming.
We sent the
have
checks, I don't
$30.
know if we've gotten those back or not, I'll have to check on that.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Cracker Barrel side out there.
Cindy, are those the ones we filed not too awfully long?
I believe they are. I
No,
should have them in the office.
I'll check on them.
Are we still getting revenue from those?
You just got in my office, 25 calls.
Good. People say they don't need to pay.
The Cracker Barrel car drives through town, I get 25 calls.
Oh, Judge, you got anything you want to throw out?
Yeah, before we leave, can we revisit that class 4 addition, and I need some clarity on before we wrap up. It was $80,000?
We appropriated $80,000, and then this particular sheet you brought down here, I'm assuming pertains to the class 4 at 110,200, which includes $12,700 for geotechnical testing services, $4,400.
Is that, but the total is 11,000
Yeah,
and
this is the class 4, 110,200.
50, isn't it? Or is it 200? 200?
110,200.
So it was at 80,
We've appropriated another 30,000 just to the total amount,
and that'd get us to,
110,000.
but we need 200 more dollars?
Yep, 30,000.
Yep. So you want us to just make it like that and then add it just to this specific line item?
That's fine.
Let's just make that 30,200 assigned to the,
So the total's gonna be 350,200.
Whatever they.
that's correct.
Okay.
Cool.
And I will, just to add and move on, we interviewed 4 contractors not too awfully long ago about the courthouse projects. And the law had changed since we were initially thought the direction we were going to go. We were going to hire them at risk during the design stage all the way through until it's completed, but we can't do that anymore. So it has changed. We'd have to hire them as an agent, and if we did that, they would have no teeth in anything that might happen. You know, whether it was late, it was over budget or whatever, the county would be holding all the contracts. It would put us in a position of liability and something that I'm trying to stay out of. So we decided not to hire a construction company or construction management group in the design phase. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait until all the drawings are through, and then we're going to hard bid the construction part, and then that would put more of the risk on the contractors and less on the so we had asked every contractor that come in here how much they had thought that our the materials would go up, since the last one we've had was by Baldwin Michelle was in October. And so given the state of the economy right now, the boom that we're in all over the country, I mean, people are building everywhere, and it just stands to reason that our inputs is going to go up. So we asked each one of those during the interview cycle what they thought it had gone up, and 3 out of the 4 said 7% right off the top of their head. One of them said 10 to 15, so I don't know what that was about. But so where we're at right now, we're going to take this on our own from now all the way to the hard bid process, and we're going to use the numbers that we got in October, and we multiply those times 10% or 110%, and so that is. If nothing else happens between now and the 1st of October, those are the figures that we're going to use as we present the drawings and the materials. So I guess in essence what I'm talking about is we've spent another $1.5 million in materials going up. I mean, that's
Haven't done a thing yet.
hadn't done a thing, and our budget is moving on up. But the good side is we still have plenty of contingent money in there, and I'm happy with the way things are going. But you know, any of y'all ever built a house or something similar, there's a lot of things that can happen, and so we're watching very, very closely. And in fact, the judge's office right now is taking steps to make sure that we know exactly what's going on every day through and every step of this process. We had another gentleman here, Jeff Green, from Evergreen out of New York, that was that I was interested in having down here, and so the architect got a hold of him, and it just so happens he was going to be in Arkansas this past week. He's working on a project in Pine Bluff, and interesting enough that the architect that had done that was it Pine Bluff Hotel or something? And it was very, grand hotel at one time, so he had made a visit down there to look at it, so he came to our courthouse in Blytheville, Friday, and so we had an interesting talk. He does, artwork, a lot of that artwork, a great portion of his work goes on ceilings, like murals, that sort of thing. And, and he has an extremely impressive, number of, projects he's taken part in. I mean, the biggest projects you can possibly think of. But he does do some murals, actually freehand, that goes on ceilings and in domes. But for our case and our project, he's talking about doing a laser printed on canvas that would look, and he's very excited about the way it might look in the third floor. But anyway, those are some of the things on our wish list. Of course, we won't get very many at all on our wish list, but you know, if we can add something that we can afford at some time, then we're trying to move that way and incorporate a lot of art, a lot of history, and a lot of where we are right now. So that when this courthouse gets done another 100 years from now, that when we get through with it, that those people will know where we are, where we've been. But I guess that's all. We have had a busy week. This week is not going to be quite so crowded at the judge's office. We'll close the bond closing Tuesday. I'm going to be at the Arkansas State Police banquet Wednesday, and I'll probably be with our architect Thursday. So there's some buildings around Little Rock that he's wanting me to look at.
You know, Judge, one of the things that you shared with me that I find really, really interesting, you know, we keep talking about our courthouse being 100 years old, and now that we're finally doing something, but what you continue to seem to find are the changes that's actually taken place and the modifications that have been made over the years, so that, yeah, we've got a historic building there, but that's not the original building as it was per se. One of the neatest things you told me about was it had a spiral staircase in it at one point. I did not know that until you brought that up.
We didn't know it, and we were given that clue or that hint or a rumor, and so John David, JT, and I went up to the third floor in the room that Leslie stores a lot of her books, and we got in there and we got stomping around on the floor until we found a hollow spot. And we ripped the carpet up, and right there is a piece of diamond plate metal that's bolted. So we went downstairs and looked in the small courtroom, and we could see where the hole was, and apparently it was there originally, and where the pole was mounted for when the staircase was there. And it wasn't but a few hours later, because we was asking everybody we'd get a hold of, and David Lendenning had sent me a picture from I'm sure the very early 60s, or sometime in the 60s, because Shug Banks was in one. I don't know when his first year was, but he looked like a little kid then. And he is standing there, and we could only get, I had scratched my head over why would you put that in that courthouse, especially since the beginning. But we've gotten one idea, and I'm trying to think of who it came from, but they might have housed those prisoners through the second floor so they wouldn't come through either end of the courtroom. And they went straight up to, and that was probably a holding cell, which is the holding cell now is next to it. But that would make sense, that's the only thing. And if you'll go down and look in the collector's office, you know, there's a office, when you go in that door to the left, that office has gotten, the floor is raised, and you go in there, I mean, it's a wooden raised floor. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yep. And then if you keep on walking to the end of that, there's a bookcase or a metal case. If you'll knock on the wall, you can hear it get hollow. There was a door that went between that and the boiler room, and that floor was raised because that floor in there originally was the same height as the boiler room. Huh. You know what I'm talking about? Yep. And then if you go outside and look, the windows are different. So I have no idea what that's all about, but that courthouse has been through so many different revisions. I don't know if we'll ever get close to knowing what it looked like in the beginning.
Well, I just think that's interesting.
That's absolutely interesting. We found 1952 blueprint of when the third floor was all changed up. you know, the rooms underneath the balcony, one's a law library and the other's they both got law books in it. Well, those were added in 52. That building used to come all the way back to the back of that room and be squared off. And they added those rooms on it. You know what I'm talking about, underneath the,
Witness rooms.
yes. And all of the designs go right down, I mean, like to the screws on how to build the opening that goes in the banister, the sliding pulpit, the judges, and we're getting those reproduced right now, so if anybody wants a copy, I'll see if I can't get them to you. But the jury pool and all that stuff, and of course we have crawled around all of it. All those rooms back there have been changed up so many times that, and you can see where the walls were. And we've pushed up a great deal of the ceilings, and you can see how things were done different. The courtroom, the small courtroom was, I think, 3 other rooms at one time, so.
One last thing before we quit, guys. Everybody should get a County Lines magazine in the mail. Comes out quarterly, you know, like spring, summer, winter. The winter one just came out not too long ago, believe it or not. I think I got it a week ago. If you've still got that winter County Lines magazine in there, it goes back and talks about the restructuring of the quorum court to put it in the current state that it is today. Amendment 55, and how Mississippi County used to have like 150 JPs that really didn't serve any legislative function, but the state legislature completely revamped the structure of the quorum court and then set it up in its current form today. And it's a really, really nice article and talks about our responsibilities and how we relate to the elected officials and they relate to us. And if you haven't thrown the magazine away, it's a really good read. So I just thought I'd bring that up to you. If nobody has anything else?
I do.
You do? Yes, sir.
It's okay if you skip over me for the judge, but no.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. We have 3 appropriations that
Oh, you do?
we need to get on the agenda. Planning and Development approved the Manila Airport. The bids came in above what we had appropriated, and we need to add $30,000 to that to cover the bid, and we're ready to award it. And is it AJ Construction Company?
A&J.
A&J. Aviation is going to be the low bidder, so we're going to increase that to $510,000. The reason we didn't just void the original appropriation was because we'd spent some money out of it and couldn't do it, so we need to amend that one and add $30,000 to it. And A&J is the person that got it. Secondly, we have a new company coming in called, well, they're already here, Frigortec, Frigortec. And this company does air conditioning for beans, wheat, engines, and cranes and things. In the steel mill, they do refrigeration for those type things. We're offering them $10,000 for Mississippi County employee, nothing for anyone else. They have to all be Mississippi County employees. So that's $100,000 for Frigortec. Third item, we did approve the study.
Is that $90,000?
$96,500.
Workforce study?
Sir,
Call it a workforce study?
workforce study. They're calling it Economic Development Tactical Advancement Plan is what they're calling it.
Workforce study.
So this will be a one-time expenditure for these folks. Hopefully, we'll get something out of it. Supposedly, Cliff said they're going to talk to some of the JPs, the judge, some other county officials, some county elected officials, business and industry to see what we need and if we could benefit from, he didn't exactly say this, but if we could benefit from people, yeah, from poor people and all the things of that sort.
You making that form of a motion to send it
Sure.
for it? You seconding that?
I'll second.
You gonna vote for it?
She didn't have a choice. You gonna vote for it? She's gonna vote for it.
All in favor? Okay, so we got 3 appropriations coming out of economic development, and I do apologize. I didn't realize y'all had, I missed that, your last meeting.
Yes, you did.
And I was honestly glad, I was really busy. Anybody else got anything? Any other JP? Any other elected official? No, Harley.
No, y'all got my letters.
Yes, sir.
What I need to do to get it done, that's what I need to know.
We moved on. I mean, you can put it in the paper, but as far as I know, we moved on. We're going to vote that.
I'm talking about the second letter.
Oh, I don't know that I got the second letter.
It'll be like that.
I got mine today.
I haven't got a second letter.
Yeah, neither.
Is it in regards to salaries, Harley?
Yep.
We're gonna, in July, we're gonna get started and
Are
we're
you gonna
gonna,
bring my people to the level before you start doing everybody else's? That's what I need to find out.
we're not gonna do anything till we look at everybody. And then we're gonna see what we can do, and we're gonna start at the bottom, and if your people are some of those bottom people, yes. But there are other bottom people too,
Not as
besides
low
just
as
your
mine.
office.
Not as low as mine.
Oh, yeah, I've got the figure.
You got a figure it's lower than that? I'm talking about the one full time.
I'm promising you, I got a lot on yours.
That's a good point. You got part-time people making more than my people.
We've been promising that we'd look at that in the middle of the year since last fall when we worked on the last budget. And I promise you, Harley, our intentions are honorable and good. And we're gonna get your people with everybody else's people, but we're gonna treat everybody the same and try to get everybody up to that midpoint level at the least. So,
One more, I spoke with Linda Cannon this morning, Benny's wife, and Benny is doing much, much better. They are getting a long way to getting his blood pressure under control. Tomorrow, he's scheduled to have the balloon procedure, and that'll be in advance of Wednesday's triple bypass. And it sounded like good news to me, but Benny and Linda certainly still need your prayers.
absolutely.
And we did hire a temporary custodian that it seems like, and maybe I'll be able to tell him, he's doing a good job.
Great job.
I've known him before, it just so happened that he applied for it through a tent, and that I think he's gonna work out well. And then in Janice's office in Osceola, Jerry has passed away.
Ms. LaRue.
Jerry LaRue.
So I think she'll be in our prayer, her family, in our prayers.
Am I good? Guys, with that, we'll adjourn. Thank you very much. You know where I live.